What's up, Laker Nation? Welcome into the Lakers Report from Chat Sports. I'm your host, Jimmy Crowther, and today I'm going to be breaking down the 5 opponents the Lakers could see in the first round of the playoffs. And I want to break them down from the teams I would most like the Lakers to play to the teams I would least like the Lakers to play. So obviously LA is probably locked in to that number 1 spot in the Western Conference, but the 8th seed is completely up in the air. So let's start off with one team that could get there, the Sacramento Kings. Now, this is one team that I think the Lakers would sweep in 4 games. It would be just one of the easiest matchups the Lakers could possibly get. Now, the Kings are just 4 games out of 8th place right now. They're 7-3 in their last 10. And one of the main reasons that I'm not scared of the Sacramento Kings for the Lakers is Luke Walton as the head coach. I don't trust him in Sacramento there. They've already had some injury problems with Marvin Bagley. A lot of their team is still really young with guys like De'Aaron Fox, Buddy Hield, and Bagley, and Harry Giles as well. Now, it's a solid makeup of a team, but not good enough in the playoffs. When you look at their starting 5 right now, you've got De'Aaron Fox, Bogdan Bogdanovic, Harrison Barnes, Nemanja Bjelica, and Harry Giles. Of course, Marvin Bagley is hurt, but look at that lineup. Who in the world is going to guard LeBron James? Harrison Barnes? Yeah, that's an easy win. And then who in the world is going to guard Anthony Davis? Harry Giles? Are you kidding me? That's an easy matchup for the Lakers. This is the ideal situation, but they are 4 games out of 8th place. Now, one player I do like on the Kings a lot is De'Aaron Fox, their starting point guard. He was a high draft pick, and really he's proven himself why. He's super quick. He can get to the basket, and I do think he could cause some problems for the Lakers backcourt if they faced off with the Kings, but I think that's unlikely. Now, before I get into my next team, I want to ask you guys, which team do you want to see in the first round if you're a Lakers fan? For me, it's the Sacramento Kings. Young team, young head coach. Don't trust them in the playoffs quite yet, but let me know who you guys think in the comment section as you watch this YouTube ad break. Now let's talk about the Portland Trail Blazers. This is the next team that I think the Lakers would really have no trouble with. Now, they're a full 4.5 games behind the Memphis Grizzlies for that 8th seed right now, and Jusuf Nurkic is expected to return pretty soon from that injury, but I'm afraid Jusuf Nurkic isn't going to come in and save this team. With their starting 5 right now, you of course have the dynamic duo of Damian Lillard and CJ McCollum, and then they just traded for Trevor Ariza. They've got Carmelo Anthony at the 4 and Hassan Whiteside at the 5. So that's a lot of veterans, but not a lot of veterans that are contributing to a winning team. Carmelo Anthony, we've seen him on teams. He's not contributing to winning games. Hassan Whiteside, we saw him on the Heat putting up big numbers. Doesn't contribute to wins. Trevor Ariza at this point in his career, if he's the one guarding LeBron, that's a 40 piece every single night. Ariza is not that good of a defender anymore. Now, the 2 guys that I'm a little bit scared of if the Lakers had to play the Portland Trail Blazers are Dame and CJ. I just talked about them, so let's talk about them a little bit more here. Damian Lillard's having a great year. He's averaging 29 points per game, 7.8 assists, and nearly 5 rebounds as well. Dame is, look, he's playing at an MVP level. However, his team is not performing accordingly. They are not getting the wins they need to. Now, CJ McCollum, his sidekick, another guy that I love. However, I think McCollum could really benefit from a change of scenery at some point, but that's a topic for another show. CJ is averaging 22.5 points per game, 4 boards, 4 assists, and he shoots the ball well as well. But I'm not really scared of them when the Lakers have a dynamic duo of LeBron James and Anthony Davis. LeBron, of course, a top 2 MVP candidate right now, 25.7 points per game, 10 assists, 8 boards. He's doing everything you need him to do on the court in this year of his career. He just keeps getting older, but he just keeps getting better as well. Anthony Davis, really, in my opinion, Defensive Player of the Year, also an MVP candidate, probably top 5, 27 points per game, 9 boards, 1.5 steals, and 2.5 blocked shots. I mean, he's doing everything on the floor on both ends for the LA Lakers. And when you got a guy like Trevor Ariza checking LeBron James and probably Hassan Whiteside checking AD, I have no problem playing the Portland Trail Blazers, especially with the slide that they're in right now, 3-7 in their last 10 games. Now, Laker fans, before I get into my third team that I have for the Lakers, I want to tell you about our friends over at BetDSI. If you're a loyal watcher here at Chat Sports, you've probably already been making money with BetDSI by going to chatsports.com/bet and then using our promo code for Laker fans only, Lakers120. That'll give you a 120% deposit bonus with BetDSI when you put your money down with them. Go bet on some Laker games, go bet on some NBA games, make some money today with chatsports.com/bet, our friends over at BetDSI. Now let's talk about the San Antonio Spurs. These are not the Spurs that we know of old, the consistent, always winning games San Antonio Spurs. They have not been any good this season. They're currently 5 games back of the 8th seed, so they're still in the running. We can't count them out quite yet, but it's not looking good for San Antonio. They're 4-6 in their last 10 games, and LaMarcus Aldridge has been hurt a little bit lately, but nothing that should derail them quite this much. However, the reason I have them above the Portland Trail Blazers and above the Sacramento Kings is because of one man and one man only. Greg Popovich is still the head coach in San Antonio. And anytime Greg Popovich is in a head coaching role, you don't want to play that team in the NBA playoffs. Now, I don't think they're going to get the 8th seed. I think they're a little too far back now. But if they do, this wouldn't be my favorite matchup for the Lakers solely because they have a head coach in Greg Popovich, and they also have veterans like DeMar DeRozan and LaMarcus Aldridge. Now, let's look at their starting 5 right now. They've got DeJounte Murray, Bryn Forbes, DeMar DeRozan, LaMarcus Aldridge, and Trey Lyles is their starting center. Now, the thing about this is, yes, DeRozan is a good player. Yes, LaMarcus Aldridge is a good player. DeJounte Murray has not been what I expected him to be coming back from that torn ACL. Bryn Forbes is a good shooter, and then Trey Lyles a good stretch 5. However, there is no great defender in this starting 5 outside of DeJounte Murray. But DeJounte Murray can't check LeBron. Trey Lyles can't check AD. LaMarcus Aldridge can't check AD. I love this matchup for the Lakers on the court, but when it comes to on the paper with Greg Popovich, it scares me just a little bit. Now, let's talk about the consistency that we've seen from San Antonio for all these years. I mean, go back to 2013, 2014. You don't see it here, but they won the NBA Finals 4-1 versus the Miami Heat. We all remember that one. 2014-15, they did lose in the first round, but they pushed that first round to 7 games. The next year, they lose in the conference semifinals to Oklahoma City. That's another 6-game series. Greg Popovich knows how to stretch these series out. Then 2016, 2017, they go in. Golden State Warriors, obviously the super team there. They lose to them in the conference finals. They get swept right away. And then the last 2 years that we've seen, they have lost in the first round. But the thing that scares me about this first round San Antonio team is that they make it competitive. Last year, nobody expected them to win any games, and then they push it out to 7 with the Denver Nuggets. I don't want the Lakers to play them, not because I think they're going to lose, but because I don't want the Lakers to have to play more games than necessary in the first round, and that is what San Antonio is going to try to do. Now, let me ask you guys this. Which team will get the 8th seed in the Western Conference? Let me know in the comment section below. Not who you think or who you want, not who you want to get it, but who you truly believe is going to lock up that 8th seed in the Western Conference. I'm going with Memphis, and we'll talk about them here right now because the Memphis Grizzlies are really one of the teams that I do not want to see the Lakers play again. When you get down to it now, we've talked about the Trailblazers, the Kings, the Spurs. Now we talk about the 2 teams that scare me the most. The Memphis Grizzlies being that team right now. They currently are in the 8th spot. They're 4 games up on the New Orleans Pelicans. Ja Morant is having a Rookie of the Year type season. I mean, really, I think he is the Rookie of the Year, but we'll talk about that here in just a minute. Now, one problem that I have with the Grizzlies, the reason they're not the one team that I'm the most scared of is because they're a little too young for me right now. It's Ja Morant, Jaren Jackson Jr., Jonas Valanciunas, Dylan Brooks, DeAnthony Melton. Those guys are great, but they're also young. They don't have any true veteran leaders on this squad. Now, their starting 5 right now, they're rolling with Ja Morant, DeAnthony Melton, Dylan Brooks, Kyle Anderson, and Jonas Valanciunas. Now, the reason Kyle Anderson is in there and not Jaren Jackson Jr. is because Jaren Jackson Jr. is facing some injuries. However, come playoff time, I fully expect Triple J to be in that starting 5. And really, Ja Morant and Jaren Jackson Jr. could be wreaking havoc on the Western Conference for a long time. But the guy who scares me the most on this team is Ja Morant, my pick for Rookie of the Year. He's averaging 17.6 points per game, 3 boards, 7 assists, and the one thing that I was most worried about coming into the league for Ja Morant was his 3-point shooting. The dude is shooting 37% from 3. Elite 3-point shooter when it comes to the volume he's taking it. Not elite, but better than most expected. Ja Morant is having a really, really good year all around. Not a guy I want to see in the first round of the playoffs. So we just talked about it. I gave you my pick, but I want your pick. Who will win Rookie of the Year? Type J for Ja Morant, type Z for Zion Williamson. Now, look, Zion, had he been doing this all year long, is easily the Rookie of the Year. But he's only played about 20 games. Ja Morant has played all season long, and his team is the one in the playoffs right now. So I'm going to give him the edge and go Ja Morant, but maybe you disagree. Let me know why in the comment section below. Now let's talk about the team that scares me the most. The one team I don't want the Lakers to have to see in the first round. Not because, again, I think they're going to lose, but this would be the toughest matchup for LA. The New Orleans Pelicans. They're 4 games out of the 8th seed right now. They're 5-5 in their last 10, but really it's all about Zion Williamson. He has been making a furious playoff push for the Pelicans. And when you look at this combination of young guys and veterans, that's what scares me about New Orleans. They've got some young studs and they've got some established veterans who can help them win games right now. Look at their starting five. It's pretty obvious. You got a guy like Lonzo Ball coming in at the point guard position, a guy who, being on the Lakers, and now all of a sudden he turns around, he's been a really good player for the Pelicans now. Jrue Holiday, that's your veteran guard right there. So you go young guard and Lonzo, you get a veteran guard and Jrue Holiday going side by side. Brandon Ingram, another young stud who made the All-Star team this year. Now, we haven't heard as much from him since Zion's been back, but he's still having a great year. Zion Williamson, of course, the starting power forward there, and nobody wants to play him. And then Derrick Favors, another veteran center who knows how to win games. Hasn't had a great season, but still doing good things as a veteran leader. And then you think about a guy who's not even playing right now, JJ Redick. If he comes in the playoffs, you know that's a guy that the Lakers do not want to see in a first-round matchup. Let's talk about Lonzo Ball just a little bit more, because we heard from his big loudmouth father, LeVar, say that you don't want to play Lonzo, you don't want to play playoff Lonzo. Okay, well, calm down. We've never seen playoff Lonzo. We might not even see playoff Lonzo this year, but he is averaging 12.4 points per game, 6 boards, and 7 assists. But the thing that has really changed the most, the thing that's really turned the corner for Lonzo Ball, is his three-point shooting. He's shooting 38% from three. That form looks so much better. He's a guy that you want shooting threes this year. And defensively, he's doing really well also. But the matchup between the Lakers and Pelicans is all about Zion Williamson. Because who's going to come in and guard Zion? Is it going to be LeBron? Do you want LeBron banging up with Zion all night long? Do you want Anthony Davis going up against him all night long? I'm not sure. It's a tough matchup there. However, here's the thing with Zion, and nobody's really talking about this right now, so I'm going to give it to you first. Zion has struggled defensively. He has not been a defensive presence that we expected him to be right off the bat. Now, he's not bad. I think a lot of it has to do with Alvin Gentry just not telling him where to go on defense, but Anthony Davis is going to take full advantage of a bad defensive matchup with Zion Williamson. But when you look at his numbers, Zion's been incredible. I'm not taking anything away from this year has been a sensational rookie season since he's been back from the injury. 23.6 points per game, 6.8 rebounds, 2 assists, and the field goal percentage nearly 60% because everything he shoots is coming from around the rim. Pelicans definitely scare me the most, but don't scare me that much. I still think the Lakers are going to get out of the first round. So here's a big question, the question we're going to end today's show on. How far will the Lakers make it in the NBA playoffs this year? Will they go to the finals? Will they go to the conference finals? Do you want to make a bold prediction and say they get beat in the first round? Go ahead and let me know in the comment section below.